Hello, hello. How are you? I'm good. Things are great. I am on my way to a pretty cool event. Well, actually, I'm walking through St. James's Park right now because I've got a few hours to kill. But later, I will be heading to a really cool event that I'm pretty excited about. I am on my way to an event at Lush with Grace Victory, all about self-love and self-care. I'm really excited about it. There's going to be speakers, I'm sure lots of very cool people, plus I'm probably going to leave with about 1 million bath bombs, because, you know, that's what you do when you're in Lush. We are here, we are ready. We have our Prosecco in hand. And cookies. Yep, we're ready.
So, some of you may know, I'm Grace Victory, and I basically am here today to talk about self-care and self-love and just create a safe space for you guys to ask questions and learn and share opinions on what self-care is and how you all practice it and how I practice it.
I think self-care is the behaviour and self-love is the mentality. So you do self-care out of self-love, if that makes sense.
And do you think that, because I feel like I had to practice self-care in order to find self-love.
I was just about to say this.
Yeah, love myself to do self-care, they're kind of intertwined, right?
Yeah, definitely when I loved myself more, I did more self-care, but then when I did more self-care, I also loved myself more.
And also understanding that self-care is not pretty, it's not, I used to think of it just like Instagram hashtag self-care, self-love, love myself, when I wasn't. And it's the idea that self-care and self-love take you to some of the deepest and darkest places, but through that you become a stronger person that you want to see yourself as. We have to understand it's not always pretty and it's not always as easy as just a hashtag, you know what I mean?
Go ahead, oh babes, carry on.
This goes back to what you were saying about how connected our phones are to self-care, I think, because I think your phone kind of becomes, as soon as it's internet connected, an extension of yourself, and also it puts you in a position where you have to be on all the time and you are obliged to answer all the time, which is not a normal status in your brain. Like, there's a reason like Skype had like an away and an offline. You don't answer it back in the why do we even have read receipts? How awful is that? I think read receipts are like the devil incarnate.
I'm going to do something where last scene or like last. Don't do that with me.
How that Instagram account or social media account makes you feel, reflect on that and really sit on that and curate who you follow to how best like makes you feel good. Like if you look at someone's post, if they're going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, that makes you feel like you're not doing good enough, unfollow them. Listen, it's not that deep, it is social media, but it's really not that deep. And if that person is your friend, they will understand that you can't follow them because it makes you feel bad about yourself.
Your past trauma, your family, like you have to, there's so much of us, identity, that we have to learn to love. So in terms of like being body specific, how have you managed to like, I mean, do you love your body?
Oh, I love my body. Listen, my body is great. I'm a snack. But I think when it comes to the body, it's like learning to love your body in every moment. Like in the morning when you wake up, your stomach's gonna be naturally flat because you have not eaten for the time you've been sleeping. Loving yourself when your weight is gonna fluctuate throughout your whole life, and you shouldn't just love yourself in one kind of fit or one kind of size. You need to love yourself in the whole kind of thing. Like, I know that when I am working and when I'm delivering my programs, I can't go to the gym as much as I like to, therefore my body will reflect that. I love my body the same way. I dance naked in the mirror all the time, music on, say.
I think we should all try that.
I'm telling you, it works because you're seeing your body jiggle in a way, and like there's nothing wrong with being naked. Nakedness is, great.
So growing up, because obviously when and you as well, so when we grew up, we didn't see anyone that looked like us. And obviously you did. Has that impacted on your body image and self-love?
Such an interesting question, because I grew up in an area, I went to an all-girls school. Everyone was white, bar one black girl in my year, and everyone was gorgeous. So the standard of what was beautiful was set so high, it was like billboard level.
Did you grow up?
Everyone I brought back to my town, it's a town just outside of London, and everyone I brought back from like youth events I went to and whatever when I was growing up was like, everyone here is so attractive. But it's an affluent area, and I guess there's like a special recipe of what
expensive skincare.
But so like there was one plus size girl out of 150. Like, it was unbelievable, and so those standards were so high and so unattainable that everyone else's body confidence and everyone's body confidence was awful, like on the floor, because it was like Instagram pre-Instagram. I don't know. Everyone looked like they got it, and then people would go on disgusting diets. They'd not eat, they'd starve themselves. So many issues with eating disorders. So it was like a really, I don't know, like a hyper perfection standard being held. So it had a negative effect in a completely different way.
A massive thing was how I touch my body. So like I used to like pick at my body, my belly, like prod it and be really unkind. And when I recognised that, I thought I need to look at my body, hold it, touch it, and walk as if I love myself. Because if you're prodding at your stomach and be like, oh my god, you're so fat, your body hears that. Yeah. And I think trying to unlearn the language you use about yourself is like massive.
And self-care for me is like, there's the stereotypical stuff, like taking time out for yourself and things like that. But it's also things like, I was talking upstairs about how I got myself an accountant, and that is self-care for me, because I'm the kind of person who leaves bills for months. Like, I am overdue on a few bills, just because I'm too scared to face it, but it's actually self-care to like face the music, open your bills, and it's not something that I can Instagram, and it's not something that's going to be looking beautiful on my feed. It is something that's going to really help my mental health in the long run. Like, you don't have to have a breakdown to take a break, and it's about preempting it. And I actually think self-care is really about preempting mental health crises. Like, if you actually take care of yourself on a day-to-day basis and schedule time, like, there were days which I went to go see my therapist this morning. She was like, have you scheduled a duvet day recently? And I was like, no. And she was like, there needs to be one in your diary this week, which means cancelling things and means like missing job opportunities or whatever. But it's for your mental health, so that you don't get to the point where you're burning out.
I think as well it's important to say that you're more than what you look like, and like you're more than what's happened to you. So I think a lot of like my issue with my body was because of my trauma, and until I started processing what had happened to me, like it could be anything from like bullying or like a family breakdown. How can you possibly love yourself when you have all this pent up hate and aggression that needs to get out? So I think as well it's important to say that you're not what's happened to you. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, same idea. Forgive yourself. Yeah. Like, don't beat yourself up about things. Obviously, if you've made a mistake, own that mistake and apologise. But in general, you're probably, if it's internal, you're probably putting too much pressure on yourself. And changing that internal narrative to learn to forgive yourself has been, at least for 2017, was like the biggest lesson I learned in self-care.
How did you guys find that? Was it good? Enjoy it? So amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. I want to go to another one every day. I know, can we just do that again? Yeah, exactly. Also, this is like such an amazing community. The lights. I feel like everyone's coming with such positive vibes that it's just been really definitely. It's been incredible.